Angry scenes outside the Wellington High Court, where the verdict was delivered in the case of 4 men charged with the drive-by shooting of toddler Jhia in Wanganui. Hayden Wallace, Carl Check and Ranji Forbes were all found guilty of murder. Forbes was the driver of the car from which the shots were fired. Richard Pu Ohotoa was found not guilty of murder, but guilty of being part of an organised criminal group. A 5th man, Luke Check, was found not guilty of being an accessory after the fact. The mother of the murdered toddler was satisfied with the verdicts.
Jhia, you got to be pleased with that.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
I'm happy. Yeah.
Anything else you can say, Rhea?
They got the right people.
The convicted men will be sentenced in February. Reporter Simon Bradwell has been covering the trial over the past 5 weeks and joins us now live from outside the High Court in Wellington. Simon, Jhia's mother seemed happy, but not everyone was.
No, it's fair to say the accused certainly weren't. After the verdicts were read out, they were led from court, and there was a chorus of abuse from the Black Power members in the public gallery and other members of Jhia's family and supporters. And I've got to tell you, the mongrel mob members who were convicted of the crime gave it straight back. They weren't backing down at all. They were defiant to the end. All happened right in front of me. The corrections guards actually had to literally push them out of court and into the cells so the confrontation wouldn't continue. Outside court, as you say, more angry scenes. As those supporters came outside, they jostled with reporters. Police had to try and separate people. It was a very dramatic day here at the High Court. We'll have a lot more on the story at 6 o'clock.
All right, thank you, Simon Bradwell, live from the Wellington High Court.
Well, violence broke out and emotions ran high after 3 gang members were found guilty of murdering Wanganui toddler Jhia.
Simon Bradwell's been at the trial since day one and joins us now from the High Court in Wellington. Simon.
Yes, Wendy, the only excitement here really now is the Christmas party going on in the High Court behind me. But it was a very, very different scene here just a couple of hours ago when there was drama outside court and tension inside court as the accused men learnt their fate. Angry Black Power members, including Jhia's father Josh, leave court into a confrontation with media and a standoff with police. One man arrested after attacking a cameraman. Earlier sobs from the public gallery as the guilty verdicts were handed down to Hayden Wallace, the shooter, Carl Check, the organiser, and Ranji Forbes, the driver of the car in the drive-by shooting.
Guilty.
Then anger as they were led from court.
Good job, good job, good job.
Our camera's the only ones to capture the joy of Jhia's mum outside. You got to be pleased with that.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
I'm happy. Yeah.
Anything else you can say, Rhea?
They got the right people.
Luke Check, charged with being an accessory, walking free. Again, our cameras were there. Luke, what are your thoughts, mate?
Relieved.
Glad it's over?
Hey?
Glad it's over?
Definitely.
What you going to do now, mate?
Just going to get back to my family, I suppose.
Today's verdicts end a murder case that began in May last year in Peruri Street, Wanganui. 3 shots from a high-powered rifle fired into a house, one striking 2-year-old Jhia, killing her instantly.
I just went and sat on the back doorstep with her and just held my baby because she was already gone.
The fatal shot fired from a convoy of cars, hell-bent on avenging an earlier attack by Black Power. The Crown alleging patched mobster Carl Check ordering his prospect Wallace to pull the trigger. And today we can reveal what the jury wasn't told, that Wallace and Check admitted murder at an earlier hearing. But the pair changed their minds and successfully petitioned the High Court to vacate their guilty pleas and defend the murder charge before a jury. The final murder accused, Richie Pohutawa, passenger in the convoy, today acquitted of murder and manslaughter, but found guilty of being part of a criminal group.
All right, Simon, what happens now?
Well, the guilty men are in Rimataka prison tonight awaiting sentence, and sentencing will take place on February the 20th. And by the time that happens, the saga will have run for almost 20 months, so it'll finally be brought to a close.
Thank you, Simon. Simon Bradwell in Wellington.
Tonight on 3 News, Bruce Emery fatally stabbed a teen tagger in the chest. Why the jury went for manslaughter, not murder.
A 3 News cameraman is attacked outside court as 3 gang members are found guilty of murdering Jhia.
A final act of defiance from Liam Reid before starting a 26-year sentence for the rape and murder of Emma Agnew.
And Melbourne police shoot a knife-wielding 15-year-old boy dead after pepper spray couldn't stop him.
This is 3 News with Hilary Barry and Alistair Wilkinson.
The shooting of baby Jhia in Wanganui last year was the result of rivalry between the mongrel mob and Black Power. It was typically vicious villainy, and more of it broke out today outside the courtroom. Inside, 5 men pleaded innocence. The jury said 3 were murderers. Rachel Morton reports.
Shrieks of relief from the parents of 2-year-old Jhia Tatua as the man who pulled the trigger on the rifle that killed her was found guilty of murder. He's one of 3 convicted of murdering the toddler, the other 2 both mongrel mob supporters. The man who ordered the drive-by, Carl Check, and the driver of the car, Ranji Forbes. Richard Puatawa was found not guilty of murder, and Carl Check's younger brother Luke found not guilty of being an accessory. As the mongrel mobsters were led away, they made gang gestures and yelled abuse at Black Power, the gang Jhia's father belongs to. Extra police were called in to deal with any conflict, but it didn't stop a Black Power supporter turning on a 3 News cameraman. Police are relieved the 5-week trial is finally over.
I'm really pleased for the result, particularly it was a long and extended investigation and prosecution phase, and it's good to get some closure for the family.
Jhia's mother, Ria Gardner, pregnant with her 3rd child, was overwhelmed as she left court, saying the verdicts were an early Christmas present.
I'm happy with what happened.
Luke Check, who was found not guilty of being an accessory to murder, walked out of court saying he was relieved, but not willing to comment on his older brother's murder conviction. What do you think about the other verdicts?
Nah, I got no comment on that.
There are now fears of further violence between Black Power and the mongrel mob.
It's something we deal with in Wanganui on a regular basis. We're prepared for that and any contingencies that may occur.
12 men were originally charged with Jhia's murder, but that charge held against just 3. 4 pleaded guilty to the lesser charge of manslaughter. 1 was found not guilty, and murder charges were dropped against the other 4. Jhia's mother says she can now move on and plans to unveil her daughter's headstone early next year. Rachel Morton, 3 News.
By the way, as you saw there, one of our cameramen, Michael Lacoste, was attacked outside the court by a thug. He's okay, but our crews have to put up with an awful lot sometimes to bring you the news of the day.
And community leaders in Wanganui are being warned to watch out for rising gang tensions following the court case.
2 people have been killed in gang-related shootings there in the last 2 years. John Newton reports.
3 men found guilty of murdering toddler Jhia Tatua during a 5-week trial that ended yesterday.
The harshest bit of the impact on Wanganui has been the attention it's drawn and the quite wrong perception that Wanganui is a city that's riven in 2 by gangs, because it isn't.
It's now 19 months since the fatal drive-by shooting, and downtown Wanganui seems peaceful enough. People filling the sidewalk cafes and the Christmas decorations colouring the main street. But although the city's mayor, Michael Laws, refused to be interviewed on the gang situation, he has in the past spoken out strongly against them and began attempts to make it illegal for gang members to wear their patches in the city.
The sad thing about our council is that we've brought out bylaws that continue to segregate these people and push them off to the side.
Youth workers in touch with the gangs say the 2 recent killings have in fact left underlying tensions, even if the wider community isn't seeing it. Youth workers say the reality is the gangs are part of the community.
I think we need to start looking at the sort of the root and the cause of what's actually bringing about all these issues for our people here.
Wanganui, in my view, and I've worked in a lot of places around New Zealand, is no different to any other provincial centre in New Zealand. We do have our problems, but so do other centres as well.
The High Court case against those convicted of the killing of Jhia Tatua might be over, but the task of resolving gang tensions may still have a way to go. John Newton, One News.
There's a tear